they're also not telling you that the reason we can't have high-speed rail in this country is because the coal gondolas have warped the rail track. And incidentally, those highways have to be replaced every 4 years. The Massachusetts Turnpike has to be replaced every 20 years. So it's not just millions of dollars, it's millions of dollars every 4 years per inch. The fact that we can't have high-speed rail in this country, that's a cost to us. It drives up the cost of food, it drives up the cost of virtually every commodity. But they're hidden costs. But still, that's part of the cost that should be part of that equation if we were living in a true free market capitalist society where actors in the marketplace had to pay the true cost of bringing their product to market. That would be part of the cost. The National Academy of Sciences released a report last summer that showed that every freshwater body in America and every fish, freshwater fish in the United States of America, is now contaminated by mercury, by dangerous levels of mercury coming from coal-burning power plants. We have, according to CDC, from eating these contaminated fish, 1 in every 6 American women now has so much mercury in her womb that her children are at risk for a grim inventory of diseases: autism, blindness, mental retardation, heart, liver, kidney disease, and many others. I got my mercury levels tested recently. You can get them tested by going to our website, Waterkeeper Lines. But my mercury levels were about 10 times, just from eating fish. I fish a lot, and I eat a lot of fish. And my levels are 10 times what EPA considers safe. I was told by Dr. David Carpenter, who's the National Authority on Mercury Contamination, that a woman with my levels of mercury in her blood would have children with cognitive impairment, permanent brain damage. I said, you mean she might have? And he said, no, the science is very certain. Her children would have some level of permanent neurological injury, probably, he estimated, with my levels of mercury, a permanent IQ loss in those kids of about 5 to 7 points. Well, today, according to CDC, there are 640,000 children born in this country every year who've been exposed to dangerous levels of mercury in their mother's wombs. Well, that's part of the cost of coal. And the fact today that we're living in a science fiction nightmare in our country where my children and the children of every parent in the state of Utah and every parent in the country can now no longer engage in the seminal primal activity of American youth, which is to go fishing with their father and mother in the local fishing hole and then come home and safely eat the fish. And this is not me saying this. This is the National Academy of Sciences, which is the research arm of the federal government. And I live 2 hours south of the Adirondack Mountains. This is the oldest protected wilderness on the face of the earth. It's been protected as forever wild since 1885. We had a right to believe generations of our citizens would be able to enjoy those pristine landscapes unspoiled. But today, 1/5 of the lakes in the Adirondacks is sterilized from acid rain, which is coming from those same coal-burning power plants, and which has also destroyed the forest cover on the high peaks of the Appalachians from Georgia to northern Quebec. If you go home tonight, you look on your computer, go to EPA's website, and you will see a study there by the Harvard School of Public Health that says that ozone and particulates from coal-burning power plants kill 60,000 Americans every year. 20 times the number of people who were killed in the World Trade Center attacks. But not just once, year after year after year after year. It should be the front page headline of every newspaper in this country. It's 20 World Trade Center attacks a year. 1 million asthma attacks, 1 million lost work days every year. Those are part of the cost of burning coal that they don't tell you about when they say it's cheap and clean. When they say it's clean, we know it's a dirty lie. But when they say it's cheap, it's even bigger lie, because it's the most catastrophically expensive form of a way to boil a pot of water that's ever been devised, if they actually had to pay the true cost of bringing their product to market. When I flew out of West Virginia this last time around, I flew over the Cumberland Plateau, which I've done many, many times over the past 2 decades. And I saw something that if the American people could see it, there would be a revolution in this country. We are cutting down the Appalachian Mountains, literally, with these giant machines called drag lines that are 22 stories high. I flew under one of them in a Piper Cup. They cost $500 million for a single machine, and they practically dispense with the need for human labor, which indeed is the point. When my father was fighting strip mining in Appalachia back in the 60s, I remember a conversation that I had with him when I was 14 years old, where he said to me, they're not just destroying the environment, they're permanently impoverishing these communities because there's no way that they'll ever be able to regenerate an economy from these barren moonscapes that are left behind. And he said they're doing it so they can break the unions. And that's exactly what they did. When he told me that, well, the year I was born, there were 151,000 unionized mine workers in the state of West Virginia digging coal out of tunnels in the ground. Today, there are fewer than 19,000 miners left in the state, but they're taking, and only about half of them are unionized, because the strip industry isn't. And they're taking much more coal out of West Virginia than they were in 1968 every year.